morning, everyone. Are we having a good time so far? So I just want to start off by saying how honored and ecstatic I am to be here. This is my second time speaking at an event for AIR, and this is an organization that I'm really passionate about because it has to do with a topic that my family is extremely passionate about, and I have made it my mission to raise awareness of mental illness. So I'm going to apologize in advance. I know I probably look really unprofessional holding a piece of paper in front of me up here, but I wrote my speech down so that I can get my message across to you in the most efficient way possible. So I'm going to start off with a story that has led me here to speak to you today. Olivia was 5 years old when she quit kindergarten. It was at this time that her childhood tantrums turned into violent outbursts. Her behavior became erratic, switching from pure elation to outright hostility. Many called her behavior a result of being too spoiled. Others thought that she was just a bully. Managing Olivia's mood swings became her family's central focus. Tyler was 12 years old when they began to notice his erratic behavior. He was the life of the party one day and didn't leave his bedroom other days. He got both straight A's and straight F's. Most blamed it on raging teenage hormones. They assumed he would just outgrow it. But by the age of 15, he started abusing drugs to make him feel normal. At age 20, he was admitted to an inpatient substance abuse rehab facility for the first time, and it was there that he finally learned the explanation for his unexplainable darkness. Tyler and Olivia both suffer from bipolar disorder. They also have another thing in common. They are my big brother and little sister. In March of 2014, I became a local title holder in the Miss Pennsylvania's Outstanding Teen organization. With this title came a huge responsibility. I had to select a personal platform which I would promote throughout my year. I knew immediately, without any thought, what I had to do. It was time to share my family story. The crown they gave me could act as my megaphone. It was time to come out of the darkness and speak about mental illness. Undoubtedly, there is a social stigma associated with mental illness. This stigma exists because society doesn't understand it, so instead we choose to ignore it. Those who suffer from mental illness look normal on the outside. For this reason, it's very hard for others to understand that they are indeed suffering and need help, just like someone who has a physical ailment. It was so easy for others to judge my sister's behavior. It was much easier to blame my parents for not being able to control her. It was easier to say my brother began taking drugs because my parents were not attentive enough. It is not easy for anyone to believe the truth, so we just stopped telling it. Trying to explain to others that my elementary school sister had bipolar disorder was too heavy a topic for kids and even their parents to understand. Most of the time, we just get a confused look when we explain that Olivia is bipolar. Almost always it's followed by the question, can you get that so young? The fact is that people with mental illness start demonstrating symptoms at a young age that way too often get misdiagnosed or not even diagnosed at all. Many times we find out the truth when it's too late. Unfortunately, failure to properly treat mental illness can be catastrophic. It often leads to substance abuse, domestic violence, homicide, and too often, suicide, which is why we are all here to walk and raise awareness today. Adam Lanza, Dylan Clable, James Holmes, these are all names that we have come to know because of the tragedies that resulted from untreated or misdiagnosed mental illness. How many more people have to die before we stop blaming guns for these issues instead of treating the real problem that causes them? A favorite quote of mine is actually, guns don't kill people, people kill people. In most cases, these situations could have been avoided if only we had offered help instead of criticism to those who suffer silently. We can no longer ignore the issue of mental illness. We cannot allow one more teenager to fall into substance abuse as a means of self-medication or take his own life to rid himself of the despair caused by its symptoms. Bipolar disorder, as well as any mental illness, including addiction, is not something we can prevent, but it is something we can overcome. Building awareness and removing the stigma of mental illness is the first step to building a successful future for those who suffer from it. My family's journey is certainly not over. In fact, it has just begun. Tyler continues to suffer from the effects of his mental illness. He's currently serving a several-month-long prison term for drug-related offenses. Ironically, he's back on his meds while in prison, and it was much easier to get them while he was in prison, so I guess there's one part of it. Olivia is now 13. She's stable on meds, but still has very violent outbursts during which she now threatens to harm and even kill herself. I'm so glad that fate brought me to Attitudes in Reverse. Together, we are committed to a common goal, a better life for those who struggle with mental illness and suicidal thoughts. I often wonder why I'm the only one of my parents' 3 children that did not get the bipolar gene. For this reason, I feel I have an obligation to my siblings to raise awareness of this illness that has such a profound impact on my family. With the help of the Miss America organization and amazing organizations like Attitude in Reverse, we can finally bring others like Tyler and Olivia out of the darkness into a much brighter future. Thank you.